Hello and welcome back to Life in Progress. I'm Carly.
I'm Ilana.
And again, we're recording in person, which is so much more fun than doing it virtual, although we haven't done it
Yeah, I'm
virtual.
like, why are you saying again? I'm very proud of us that we've only done in-person recordings.
It's kind of
cool.
wild.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking from when I was on your podcast.
Yeah. Which, it'd be so funny. I almost did this on my drive here. It'd be so funny to listen back to that first episode, and we weren't friends.
We were not friends.
But the fact that there is a 45-minute long recorded conversation of the two of us prior to becoming best friends is really funny.
Okay, I think we need to listen back to that.
Yeah, that's like listening to a first date.
Is that the one that did well on your thing, or no? That was a different time I was on.
The recent one that's done well is more recent. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So no.
Probably not.
Well. I think that was when I was still at Locks Club, promoting.
Yeah, it
that.
was.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
TBT.
we need to listen to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome back, everybody.
Hey guys.
So, Ilana, what is in progress? Kick it off.
What's in progress for me is something that you guys don't see because I spent all my damn time making sure you don't become aware of it. But I'm working on sniffling less during recordings. I literally spend an hour for each episode editing out my sniffles. And it's so funny because the first time I realized it is I don't edit the Seeing Other People episodes. Cammie does, my editor. And so when I started editing Life in Progress, I'm like, oh my God, I don't think Cammie goes through every episode like this and edits out all of my sniffles that happen every other second. And I realized it's because my Seeing Other People recordings are predominantly virtual and I mute myself when I'm not speaking because I sniffle.
So you can't mute yourself here.
I cannot mute myself here.
Yeah,
so I sniffle the whole
something
time.
funny about Ilana is I just feel like she's always sick.
Always sick.
So yesterday she called me and Jason and I were in the car and we were driving back from this wedding. We were in a long car ride and Ilana calls me and she was like, she's supposed to come to New Jersey. And she's like, I woke up, I don't really feel well, whatever, I'll see how I feel later.
Well, no, the first thing you said was, how are you feeling?
Oh, yeah. But that was just, general question. It wasn't are you sick? And she's like, I don't know, I don't feel that well, whatever. I couldn't remember what you said. And later on, Jason was like, is Ilana hungover? And I was like, no, she's just always sick. It turns out I
actually was hungover.
You were hungover. And he was like, what do you mean she's always sick? I'm like, I don't know. She's always stuffed or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was funny because also yesterday I walked into Jake's parents' house and his mom immediately was like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, why is everyone asking me that? But I'm literally always sick.
You are.
Anywho, what's in progress for me today in this moment is not sniffling during these episodes.
Great, thanks. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, it doesn't impact you.
I know, but I don't want you to have more work for yourself.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
What's in progress for you?
In progress for me is I'm starting to figure out all of my bachelorette things and merch stuff. So I want to get all personalized things. So I'm just starting to figure out what that looks like. So that's in progress for me right now.
I hope you let me help you with.
No. Why would I let you help me when you're going to receive the presents?
Because it's fun.
Yeah, but then it's not a surprise. Do you want to know? No.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe for the bachelorette part, I'll tell you, but not for the other stuff.
The other stuff.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a secret.
We'll see. I may not tell you anything.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I'll find out eventually. I'm
Yes.
here to help. Okay. Today, I'm really excited for this episode. I don't know if we initially thought of this topic on a previous episode or if it was one that you guys were asking for, because when Carly and I were putting our heads together, figuring out what episodes we wanted to record this few days of recording, I was like, I know I have a list somewhere.
Yeah.
And I pulled up a list that I wrote months ago, and there was an episode topic about falling or feeling like you're falling behind. And we were like, wow, that's so good. Did
Love
we think
that.
of that? Who thought of that? We don't know. How did that end up here? But we then polled you guys asking what episode topics you wanted to hear about the most. And overwhelming majority said feeling behind. And we put up a question box asking what specifically you're feeling behind in. We'll get into your responses soon. I just think this is such a relevant topic and something that we have all felt so deeply about in so many different aspects of our lives. So today we are talking about feeling behind.
And if you haven't felt this way, then you are lying.
Yeah, seriously. and for anyone who is feeling this way right now, it is so normal and you are not alone and you're not the first person to feel this way and you are not the last person to feel this way, but your feelings are valid.
Does anybody else realize how fast Ilana talks? Sorry, it's just something I had to stop and say. When I'm like cutting clips and trying to post things for social, it is so hard to cut them correctly because she talks so fast that I can't cut it off at a certain point. I'm not telling you to change. I'm curious.
All I'm saying is when I cut clips, that happens with everybody because one word rolls into the next most of the time.
All right. Well, I would love to know if people think you talk
I mean,
fast.
I'm not denying that. I know I talk fast.
Okay.
Everyone who's listening to this is like, yeah, Carly, thanks for saying something.
Yeah, you're welcome.
My mom's like, yeah, Carly, put her in her place. Tell her how it is. But
okay, anyway. Sorry.
I actually, fun fact, I just learned that both Carly and I were in speech therapy.
Yes.
What were you specifically in speech therapy for?
I couldn't say like for like F, like flyers.
Yeah.
I would say like kires.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I had a lot of speech impediments.
The Fs.
Yeah. And I just couldn't say words. Sometimes I still feel
can't.
like when I talk, I'm not saying words properly.
I was in speech therapy for my S's and my L's.
Yeah.
But tell me if you felt this way. I had so much shame around being in speech therapy. Like
same.
I thought there was something wrong with me. Where, like, I remember I would like cry and almost like throw a tantrum because I didn't want to go to school on days that I had to go to speech therapy because I felt like everyone was going to make fun of me and judge me and think I was a joke if they knew where I was going. And like, I hated going to school because of it.
No, same.
I would like run out of the room.
Same.
Cool.
Okay. Anyway, feeling behind.
Okay, so I'll get into some of your answers now. Overwhelming majority, dating, relationships, romance, finding my partner, finding my person, dating and relationships, which I think, first of all, we've all felt this way.
Yeah.
We have all felt this way.
Because I feel like we have this thing in our head that is telling us by XYZ date, you need to be doing this. Mm-hmm. And obviously social media is a huge part of that because you see everybody else doing those things. And when you're not doing those things, you're like, oh, something's wrong with me. Yeah. Or like, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. When in reality, like everyone truly is on their own timeline. And I think that's the most important thing to remember. And I feel like we need to remember that because we talk about this a good amount too, is like feeling like we're not ahead enough in our careers or just our life in general. But everything, I think, happens for a reason, and your timeline is what your timeline is for a reason.
Yeah. I think the hardest part about it is that you can compare yourself to people on social media. You can compare yourself to acquaintances. You can compare yourself to your best friends, to your siblings, or even to like where you thought you would be. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's no escaping it, whether you're comparing yourselves to other people or you're comparing yourself to this vision that you had for your life, that by 25 you'd be in a relationship, that by 30 you'd be married, or 35 you'd have kids, whatever it is. You almost feel like you're disappointing yourself if you haven't accomplished that milestone. But that feeling of disappointment in yourself, that's really where you end up disappointing yourself by feeling like by putting that pressure on yourself, like, well, I didn't accomplish this, therefore I am not enough.
That's why comparing also is so terrible. I remember my therapist talked to me about this because something I kept doing when I went through my last breakup was comparing myself to so many other people. I'm like, well, I'm 26, and it's funny. I was 25. I'm 25 years old. Like I have to start all over, and I'm not in a relationship, and I thought I'd have kids by the time I was 28. Well, guess what? I'm 29 and I'm not even married. So that's...
Could you imagine yourself having had kids at 28?
Absolutely not, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And that's why I think if you can just stop comparing yourself, it would just make your life a lot better.
Yeah.
But that's obviously easier said than done.
Yeah. Well, exactly to your point, like you were 25, 26 going through this breakup. At least you went through the breakup, because there are so many people who will stay in bad relationships or relationships that aren't necessarily unhealthy, but they're not actually happy in because they don't want to start over.
Because they think that at that age and at that point in their life, they should be in that relationship and they should start getting serious with someone. And that's why so many people stay in those relationships, and it's so scary. And I would have done that.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in my relationship and I wasn't feeling it anymore, in my head, I'm like, well, we're already living together. You know, I'm 25, 26, whatever I was. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be. But no, there is no supposed to be. There is no supposed to be. There is no specific timeline you're supposed to follow. And we have to try to figure out how to not let us compare to so many other people, because it's just going to bring you disappointment no matter what.
I think a big part of it is realizing like the grass is genuinely always greener.
Yeah.
And you might look at somebody who seems like they're in the best relationship ever, be like, wow, I wish I had what they have. You have no idea what's going on in their personal life and with their mental health, with their family. They might have a job that they absolutely hate and like no passion for what they're doing, versus you, who maybe you were so passionate about your job, or you have best friends that you could not imagine life without, or you just got this incredible apartment that you were dying to get. Like, there are so many positives in your life that I think what helped me the most with my comparisons and like my disappointment in myself was realizing like, okay, just because I'm not where I want to be in my relationship, that doesn't define me. What defines me is all of these other things that I have going for myself, this life that I'm creating for myself, the things that I'm proud of myself for. And nobody else is looking at you and saying, oh, you're 28 and single. Like, what's wrong with you?
Right.
You know, they're saying, oh, wow, like this person has a really cool job and they just went on this awesome solo trip. That's so badass and cool. I wish I did that.
Right. And who cares if you're 28 and single if wouldn't you rather be 28 and single rather than be in a relationship just to be in a relationship? Because there are so many people that are in those.
Yeah.
And social media is a highlight reel of every single person's life.
Yeah.
So when you're out there and you're comparing yourself and you're seeing all of your friends or whoever it is on social getting married or having babies or getting engaged, whatever it is, you have no idea if they're happy.
Yeah. And you wouldn't necessarily be happy with the person that they're chose.
With.
Like,
yeah.
You would so much rather be single now and wait to find the right person for you than to just be with somebody.
Yeah. And a lot of people did write in, being like, yeah, I feel behind, I'm not dating anyone, or I'm 35 and I'm still single. You're not that special where you're not going to find someone.
Yeah.
You will find someone.
Yeah.
You will find someone. You will be happy. You will have that moment of, wow, thank goodness I waited for this person and didn't go into something else just because I wanted to be in something. Like, again, you're not that special. Everyone does find their person. They just do.
And I've spoken to so many people who found love in their 30s or 40s, and every single one of those people, even people who are still single in their late 30s or early 40s, they were so much happier.
Yep.
They were happier that they got to really find themselves and figure out who they were and build a life that they were proud of, where they were like, you know what? I am so great on my own, where I still want to find somebody. And if I find somebody, they're going to add so much to my life.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't find somebody, I'm still fucking awesome. And I don't need someone else to complete me because I myself am complete. And when you go about dating with that mindset, you are setting yourself up for so much more success.
Yep.
Than feeling like, well, I need to find somebody else in order to be complete.
And I feel like when you're putting that energy out there of like, I need.
Why is my nose so itchy?
I don't know why your nose is so itchy. When you're putting yourself out there, when you're dating, of I need to find somebody, it changes the entire situation. I feel like that comes off and people will see that and get that energy. And I don't think you're going to find that person if you are just looking for someone because you think they're going to fill some void. Is that the word? Some void. And think that finding someone will all of a sudden make you the happiest person ever. No. Figure out what makes you happy first without somebody. And eventually when you are dating, that person will just add more value.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's also important to realize, just because, maybe all of your friends are in relationships or getting engaged and you're the only one who's not. Unfortunately, all of those people might not actually end up together.
Yeah.
We don't wish that for them.
But they may not.
But just because they're with somebody now doesn't mean that they're always going to be. They might get married for 5 years, 10 years, and then realize, you know what? I just really wanted to be with somebody at the moment, and that was the person in front of me, so that's who I said yes to. They're not my person.
And that's why you really have to just not compare yourself. And it's so much easier said than done, and I feel like a broken record. I keep saying it, but the more you compare yourself to other people and kind of want the same things as other people, like you're just going to disappoint yourself.
Yeah. I had a friend once, but this was right out of college. She was the only one in a relationship. and she was so happy in her relationship. And at the time, all of her friends were single. And I don't know if it's that they were jealous of her being in a relationship and wanted to kind of make themselves feel better or what it was, but they were like, you're really missing out on like the best part of our 20s where we're all single and going out and having so much fun, meeting guys and flirting and hooking up and whatever, and like talking about it together. And they made her feel bad about being in a relationship where she almost felt like they wanted her to like end it with the guy.
Right.
She ended up dating him for a while. They didn't end up together. And by the time she was single, they were all in relationships. And like, you're missing out on us all being like couples together. And it's just like, there's no real timeline. There's no real path. None of those people ended up with any of those people.
Yeah.
That's important to note. So you just have to do what is right for you
in the moment, not what you think. And I also think a lot of it is so generational.
Yeah.
It's we look at our parents and all of them got married and had kids so much earlier. And I get it. Women have a biological clock.
Yeah, but science has come a long way.
Exactly. That's what I was literally just about to say. You know, you can't worry about what you used to think you wanted.
Yeah.
Again, I used to want to be, you know, I wanted to have kids by now. And I look at my sister-in-law, who is my age, who has almost an 8-month-old. Like, everyone is just so different.
Everyone is so different.
And it's funny because no matter what you get, you're always going to want the next thing.
Always. You will get into a relationship, then you're going to be like, when is he going to propose? You get engaged, it's like, well, I got to get married so I can have kids. You have kids, well, Susie down the street has 3 kids. We got to have 3 kids. Okay, we got to get our kids into like the best colleges ever. Okay, now we need grandkids.
Yeah. It's just,
our kids better hurry up.
It's never ending.
Never. There will always be a next thing.
And it's the same thing with career. You could keep going and going and getting and moving up, but will it ever be enough? Will you ever get to a point in your career where I'm like, okay, I'm good with just this? I don't think so.
No.
You always want more. So I feel like it's just figuring out, like finding the small little pieces of happiness and joy in what you're doing in the moment rather than constantly wanting to go for the next thing.
Yeah. And that's why it's important to find people you genuinely love and want to spend your time with, and to find things that you're passionate about that light you up, because that is at the end of the day what makes you you.
Yeah.
And the more of those things you have to fall back on, the more whole you will feel, and the less reliant you'll be on that next thing defining you. And that lack of having that next thing being really the definition of how you perceive yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. A few others I want to call out, just to give you guys some shouts. One person said, for me, it's hard to find a balance between hobbies, dating, family, and organization.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think that's important to talk about too. It's tough when you're feeling like, well, I want to be at a certain level with all of these things. Like, I want these different things for myself, which is, I actually think this problem is a good problem to have. Trying to find that balance and feeling like there are so many things going on for you. That doesn't mean it's easy. You know, sometimes you might really want to be spending time with your friends and family, but work is so crazy. But I think it's taking a step back and recognizing it's great that you have all of these different sectors of your life.
I feel like it's really just trying to find the positive moments in your life and focusing and honing in on that than the things that you don't have. And I feel like that's just like the overarching message of all of this. It's like when you're feeling behind, or you're not feeling where you want to feel, or you're not doing the things you want to be doing, well, why are you focusing so much on what you don't have? And why don't you focus a little bit about what you do?
Yeah. Finding balance is really difficult, and you might never actually.
Yeah.
You might never find balance.
But that's okay.
Yeah. Your life doesn't have to be a pie chart that's like perfectly split.
And FYI, the people that you're seeing on TikTok or Instagram or social media that, you know, it's what do they call it? That girl aesthetic. And it's like girls waking up at 6 a.m. doing their full
my
skincare
5 to
routine.
9 before my 9 to 5.
Like, I'm sorry. I am like, we are TikTok creators. Like, that's not real.
No.
You're getting up, you're putting a tripod over there and you're doing random actions. Like, you're not actually doing that in your daily lives.
Though I will say, My first one-on-one getaway with Carly, we went to Miami for a few days, and when we shared a bed, and in the morning we woke up and Carly like stretched her arms over her head in a certain way, and I was like, oh my God, you actually do that, because that is what she did in all of her like morning routine videos, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm so guilty of it too. I've made so many videos where, spend the morning with me, but I would do things that I wouldn't necessarily do every morning when I wake up. Like, I don't do a full skincare routine, but you see all of this on TikTok and you're like, how do I be that girl? How do I get to where they are? Like, how do I be that organized and aesthetically whatever?
Don't, because you can't, because it's not real.
Yeah, it's not
real. It's just
wild.
Not real. Yeah, it's not. Okay, this is a good one. Somebody said, I'm 27 and I've never been in a relationship or on dates. Well, I would love to tell you a tale of two things. One, I actually just got a message from somebody today about how they're 27 and they went on their first date ever.
Oh,
so you're definitely not alone. And two, I know somebody who is 29 now who just went on her first date ever in her entire life, and now she's on like 10 dates with that person.
Wow. I love that.
So really,
so it doesn't matter what age you are. Age is a freaking number, everybody.
Yeah. I know people who in like they're 33, they go on their first dating app date and that was the person they married. Like everything happens at a different time for everybody.
Yeah. But that's what's hard. It's like, this person was like, well, I'm 27 and I've never been on a date, but who said that's a bad thing?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure you've been spending your time doing a lot of other important things.
Yeah. No one's saying it's a bad thing. Like, why do we have to put a bad connotation on when you're X years old and you have to do this?
I think part of it too is realizing everybody's priorities are different.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a matter of shifting your priorities or shifting your perception of like what you value.
Right. Maybe for the longest time you didn't value going on a date, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything's wrong with you.
No.
And even if you're someone that you feel like you're falling behind and you are dating, maybe you're just not meeting the right people. And like, that's fine too.
Yeah. Maybe it's a matter of looking within and figuring out, okay, what in your dating life that you're doing isn't serving you.
Yeah.
Maybe you should try going on dates with different types of people or going on different types of dates or having different conversations on those dates. Maybe there's inner work you need to do before you're really ready to meet somebody. There's always positive changes that you can be making and things you can be working on.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel like, I'm 27, I've never been on a date, so I'm just not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Figure out why and what's going to make you happy.
Yeah.
And then go do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's never too late.
No.
Think about the people who, have been on a million dates and get married at 21 years old, and then by the time they're 40 again, they got to do it all over because,
it wasn't the right person.
It wasn't the right person.
Yeah.
Like, you're saying you're 27, you've never been on a date, but what about someone who's newly divorced and hadn't been on a date in 20 years?
Yeah.
They're all going through the same thing.
I want to pull something up. Give me a second. I've seen articles like this posted, and I think they are so fascinating where it wants me to subscribe. Hold on. Where it's people who are so famous or so known and so successful who did not start what they were doing until like their 30s or 40s or 50s.
Yep.
So I'm going to pull a few examples off the cuff right here.
Okay.
Martha Stewart didn't publish her first cookbook until age 41. Vera Wang didn't enter the fashion industry until 40.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
More.
Laverne Cox was 41 when she went on Orange is the New Black.
Love that. That's interesting. So I can still be an actress.
But there are so many people. Here, Julia Child worked in advertising and media before writing her first cookbook when she was 50.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy when you look at it like that, how so many people who you may look at and be like, wow, they're so famous or they're so successful or they did X, Y, and Z. But have you ever realized when they started that?
J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter at 32.
Yeah. Like,
so I still have 3 more years before I have to write the next best-selling hit series of all time.
Yeah.
There's so many examples of it. And it's just, I think it's really grounding to know that there's so much time.
Even I feel better just like hearing that, because I'm like, wow, maybe I'm not at where I want to be in my career, but I'm only 29.
We're so young.
We're so young. Like, people didn't start their lives until they're 40, 45, 50.
Yeah.
So no one's behind. Everyone's
behind.
Everyone's on their own timeline. You're killing it. This is your reminder that if you're feeling behind, you're not.
You're exactly where you need to be. And if you don't feel like there is truth in that, then figure out, okay, where do you want to be this time next year? And what are the things that you need to do? What are the steps that you can take that are actionable items that are in your control that you can do to get there?
I love that you said that are in your control, because there are so many things that are in your control and there are so many things that aren't. So focus on what is in your control and what you can actually do about it.
Exactly. Are you ready for Would You Rathers?
Yeah. Wow.
Crushed it.
Crushed.
High five. Woo woo. Okay. Carly. I really think we should write our own Would You Rather game that has a million caveats to each situation.
Yeah, because you know what? All of these I'm just going to have rebuttals for.
Yeah. Would you rather
Here we go.
give up social media or eat the same dinner for the rest of your life?
No, I can barely eat one dinner as it is. Like, I need like 5 different options in front of me.
And you can barely go a minute without social media.
And I can't really go a minute without social media. So does that mean I have to find a new career?
I guess, yeah.
I can't eat the same dinner every night.
Wow.
I can't do it.
Wow.
What a miserable life I would have. Every single night I couldn't try new food. I mean, not that I try new foods, but like.
But you could try new foods for breakfast and lunch.
Oh,
It's
this is just dinner?
Yeah.
Oh, that changes things.
It's just dinner.
This is my career.
You don't have to start over if you don't want to. But it's not too late. If you decide that at 29, you are going to start a new career, I believe in you.
Thank you.
I, for one, would give up social media in a heartbeat. I would be a much better person.
I mean, would I be a better person? 1,000%.
That's not what this question is asking.
But that's not what this question is asking. But yeah, I still think I would have to have different dinners. I like food too much.
Would you rather have a huge booger hanging out of your nose for the rest of your life or a pimple on your forehead for the rest of your life?
A pimple, because I can cover it up.
I think a pimple, no one's going to stare at you and be like, do they know that's there?
Yeah.
Should I say something?
And it's also like a booger's the grosser.
A booger where people are like feel uncomfortable about it because they're like, do I say something? Do I not? Do they know?
Yeah, like I've had huge pimples, so what are you going to do?
Would you rather have Cheeto fingers for the rest of your life or feet for hands?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Cheeto fingers, I guess. How would I have feet for hands?
You would not be able to live in this house with Cheeto fingers.
I know.
Or your own apartment.
Or with Jason, yeah. I'd be screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. But if I had feet for hands, can I still do the functions of my hands? They would just look like feet. See, that's the question here. Because if you're telling me I have feet for hands, but I can only do what my feet can do, there's not much I can do with that. I can't like pick things up.
That's true.
Maybe
you'd be like Barkley.
Toe. Yeah. So if that's the question, Cheeto fingers. If I can do all of the functions with my hands, I'll take my feet.
My question.
God. Never getting through these.
Am I living in a society where having feet for hands is the norm? Like, not the norm, but a possibility.
Right.
Like, is everybody walking around with either Cheeto fingers or feet for hands? I imagine not.
No,
but maybe
just
like
you.
Some people, like just me. Yeah, I would also take Cheeto fingers at the risk of not wanting to be viewed as like different.
Here's another question. With Cheeto fingers.
That was really deep.
Yeah, it was really deep. With Cheeto fingers, does it wipe off every time you touch something and it just grows back?
The
Cheetos?
It's not just like orange finger. Like Cheeto fingers, the definition of Cheeto fingers is like gets on everything.
I understand that. So when I
wipe it continues to come back. You can't wipe it off once. I think that's a given. So Cheeto fingers. Okay, one more.
They still have a snack always.
Would you rather, this one's intense. Someone did submit this. Only be able to kill your own meat or only be able to grow your own food?
Wait, what? I'm not
like.
No, I don't like that question.
I'd grow my own food.
Yeah, grow my own food,
1,000%. 1 million.
I'm not killing anything.
No, me either.
Okay, well, that's easy.
Okay, do you want to end on a better note?
Yeah, I hated that one.
Would you rather be able to time travel within a certain range or be able to freeze time? No questions asked. Go.
time travel within a certain range.
Me too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Proud of us.
All right.
Well, that was fun.
Wow, that was a good one. I feel good about that besides the killing question. I don't like that one. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in today.
So she's staring at me and I'm like, well, I'm not going to say the next thing because I know you're about to.
Follow us on all of our socials at It's Life in Progress and rate, review us, get a 5-star rating. We need it.
Send it to a friend.
Send it to a friend.
The
Come
group
on.
chat.
Support us here.
Share it on your story. We love it. Like, actually, you understand when we see somebody sharing an episode on our story, we like call each other. We're like, oh my God, did you see that?
So can you please do that? Because it'll make my day. Okay.
It literally will.
It really will.
It really will.
And if you have any questions or you want advice on anything, email us, carlyandilana@gmail.com.
Bye.
Bye.